Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Or should I say hello? Just kidding. Because Harrison's complaining.
It's fine. Welcome. This is the NgoVo Convo podcast. I'm Harrison. I'm joined by Veronica, which I complain about all the time.
Yes, I'm here.
But other than that, we just want an excuse to talk about anything that entertains us, but really to end, kind of catch up on our never-ending backlog. And I say catch up because this is kind of today's topic is kind of older but newer. Not really. It just ended last week. So, Veronica, some would say we're conversing.
Wow. We are. Like NgoVo Convo and NgoVo Convo. Logos above Harrison's head. He's pointing at it.
Right there. That's the logo.
Right there.
But if you can't see it, you could see it on every episode on youtube.com and listen to it as a podcast by searching up NgoVo Convo on your podcast service of choice. Look at that, Veronica. I didn't even look at the prompt that time. I didn't even look at the script. I can do it. I know what I'm talking about. But you know what else I'm going to talk about? The video sponsor. And that's Olipop. But we'll talk about that later. See, I'm just so much better this week. It's great.
The almost fumble at the beginning and then the quickly reading it off.
I take what I can get, okay? It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Veronica, this episode, though, could be divisive. Who knows? We'll see.
Who knows?
Based on the internet. Who knows? Because, Veronica, today...
Will we leave here with more questions?
Maybe. Honestly. We'll see. Actually, no, yes, we will. Because today, Veronica, we're going to be talking about Ironheart Season 1.
Yeah.
Ironheart series.
Ironheart.
Well, see, already starting off with questions because it's really just one of those. If you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus. All 6 episodes are there. They did a thing where they just dropped 3 episodes week 1, then 3 episodes the next week, and then that was it.
I was very surprised.
Well, but then you made a point though that they're trying to wrap up things before Phase 6, which is Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So if you did it by weeks, it wouldn't have finished.
It wouldn't
before,
have ended.
Right? It would have ended before.
Yeah.
It would have kind of bled over.
Yeah.
So it's not ideal. Even though technically, I think they could have done 2-2-2. But I guess for the breakdown, maybe 3-3. I need to recap on that. So I binged it. Did you binge? You didn't binge. You watched it weekly, right? Relatively.
No,
duh. Yeah, because it was again.
I watched it one every day, and then it hit the next week.
That's
and
what it was. Okay.
The last 3 was out. Yeah.
Sorry, you watched it relatively when it dropped. I kind of waited till this past weekend. This past weekend. What do you mean?
Everything.
I wanted it to be fresh in my mind. What are you talking about? It would have been fresh in my mind no matter what. So
yeah.
But anyway, if you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus. Go give it a watch. Give this video a like. Save it for later. Do all that jazz. It's fine.
All the things.
But we'll talk about non-spoilers first, and then we'll get into the details of all the big stuff, questions, things in the show.
Yes.
So, Veronica, what did you think? Non-spoiler.
I was kind of skeptical at first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was just when you read about it, they started this project in 2020.
Oh. When did Black Panther 2 come out?
2022. Black Panther.
2022.
Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
And that's where Riri Williams kind of got introduced.
She introduced.
There.
Yeah.
So, between Black Panther 2 and this, it was 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't remember where she was.
Oh.
I couldn't remember what movie she was in. I was like, where was she? What was she doing? And then I saw the clip and I was like, oh, okay, we're back. But I was a little skeptical because I mean, it was just not something on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
They kept talking about it for years.
Yes.
This has been announced and ongoing for several years. So I was just oh, will they release this? Will this be one of those items that just don't go through MCU? And it was just one of those projects.
Yeah.
But I think as I watched it, I did enjoy it. It was a mid MCU show for me.
Yeah.
And I say that because I feel like now that we're thinking about phase 5 and where 6 starts, the drop of this felt a little rushed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Because you said earlier they were like, oh, they dropped 3 episodes the first week, the premiere week, and then 3 the following, and that was it.
Yeah.
But it did make sense because Fantastic Four, as we're dropping this, comes out in 2 weeks, so they wouldn't have made it. But I was just like, maybe this felt a little rushed. But yeah. To me, it was a mid show. And I don't want to compare shows, but...
No, you should. You should.
I will. But I think Daredevil and Agatha All Along was a lot better.
And wait, which one? Agatha, you said?
Yeah,
Agatha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't like... this wasn't terrible. I think I left with more questions like you than like answers with MCU, if that makes sense.
Yes. So I was going to say, yeah, I also came in with very low expectations. Like, very
as
low.
we should. I mean, as we should here.
Yes,
as
considering
MCU.
how MCU shows, Disney Plus shows have been going, right?
Yeah.
So me going in with this, I was actually very surprised with. Oh no! Oh god! Water, dude. It's too early for that.
I just drink water. This is the first time I'm choking on my water. I'm good. Sorry. Continue.
But
your thoughts.
Where was I? So I came with very low expectations, but yes, I actually agree. It started off kind of slow. It was a very slow burn. It was. The first half of the show, so first 3 episodes kind of felt like it was build up. Second half was actually really cool, I will say.
Yeah.
Non-spoilery, I think if you were to just compare her introduction to the one in Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, the suits already, I love the suit usage in the show in comparison to what was shown in the movie,
in Black Panther.
Which is crazy.
Right, because it's like movie budget versus like a TV show.
it's just the suit that she had, the couple of suits she had in the show just felt more Iron Man. Like it actually felt reminiscent of like, it just wasn't nanotech, which I was like, thank God, this is really cool. It's her going in and out. That's just non-spoiler. Yes. I loved that part. It actually kind of got that vibe down. Trying to think of stuff that I don't want to say too much, but
it was just really nice to see a suit again.
Yes, and I feel like overall it's kind of average, but it was better than expected. I think it's still a solid watch in comparison to what people are probably saying online. I will say it had like this curve, like it had like this, like it rose pretty well, and I think we'll talk in detail, but I think the ending is probably the part that divides people. Where was it good or was it bad? And I think that's up into because it is up into interpretation, and I'll say that as much. But I think the other bigger question, just to say, like, I think it was good, but it is weird to know, like, it's weird to not know if there's a season 2.
I read that there won't be a season 2.
That's what I read too. But but the way it ended is so.
It was very open-ended. Yeah. Which, I mean, we'll talk about it more.
We'll talk about it in detail. But overall, I thought it was actually really solid. I think it was fun. Action was actually decent. If you noticed at the beginning when the show dropped, though, it was probably reviewed bomb. For really dumb reasons.
For many reasons.
Dumb reasons. The score now, though, I will say, is probably more accurate in what to expect. It's a very high score. I always look at the population view, right? Like what general audience scores it. Yeah. And because I try not to, because again, critics is critics, right? So this whole, but you were saying you don't want to compare the other shows, and I think in terms of Disney Plus shows, you kind of have to have a gauge of like, how good was it or how bad was it? Because let's be real, it's right now as a popcorn meter. So for audience scores, it's 50%. This is saying She-Hulk's a 32, and Secret Invasion is a 43.
It's like 40 something. Yeah.
So take that into account, right? But then there's like Loki that's like higher, and then there's Moon Knight that's even higher too. So I think we have to have that range, and I think I have to accept that it's probably in the average area. Like it's fine for the show.
But it didn't like sink down to like Secret Invasion or like
For those
She-Hulk.
that it didn't. And but the issues, I would say, for those that are really big Iron Man fans, it's got touches of it, but I don't think if you're that hardcore of like you want the vibes of like 1 and 2 or like
You won't get that here.
I don't think so. They kind of talk about him, but not really. It's again, this is more about Riri Williams, and that's fine too.
They did name drop Tony Stark.
They did. No, they
but
did.
that was the kind of like the only.
There is a connection which I thought was really cool. That connection's dope. That's the second half. That I'm like, there's so much going on.
The whole connection.
So this is where I was like, I actually think is a decent show, but in the grand scheme of things, it's decent. And when I say decent, as in like, it's okay to watch. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with it. I mean, yeah.
So if you're worried, as no non-spoilery, I think give the show a shot. Kind of disregard like, I guess honestly just disregard like all the rebounding from the beginning. I think the score now is probably accurate where it's like 50-50. Like you may like it, you may not. Which is probably
just give it a try.
Yeah, give it a shot. But I wouldn't say it hits the. When I say I expect at least a 7 for a Marvel Marvel IP, it doesn't really hit that. It would be on the weaker side. But in terms of shows, it's probably in the middle.
It's the right amount. A right amount of like enjoyment that you would get out of it.
Yeah. Because honestly, the Marvel shows are really weak in my opinion in general.
Yeah, they are.
So that's why it's just really, there's some good ones and there's just, but I think overall it's just kind of like a weak aspect. Going forward will be interesting because Feige has said that they're supposed to increase the quality because there's less shows being pumped out. So we'll see. This is the last show before that big change, right? So
yep.
Other than that, I have nothing else to add. Non-spoiler. I kind of want to get into the detail, nitty-gritty. If you're good.
Yeah.
Cool. Then, other than that note, I'm gonna interrupt that. About our sponsors.
This episode is sponsored by Olipop, the soda your gut will thank you for. Yes, I'm talking to you, all of you. All right, have you ever missed that classic soda pop feeling? You know, the fizz, the flavor, but without the sugar crash and the guilt trip. Yeah, me too, you too, Harrison too. All of us. That's why I'm introducing to you Olipop, the soda that's bursting with flavor and good for you too. I actually have my favorite one here, strawberry vanilla. But the other weird one that I enjoyed was banana cream. I know, it's weird, super weird, but this is my favorite. Number 1, because it only has 3 grams of sugar per can, plus it has 9 grams of prebiotic fiber. And you know what you need with fiber? To use the restroom. Hee. But yeah, that means that you're going to have a happy and healthy gut with every sip. And it looks like that they took everything we loved about classic soda and upgraded to a modern, healthy conscience person. Like you, like me, like Harrison. My co-partner. My co-host. That's not here right now. So ditch the compromise and experience the soda revolution for yourself. Don't forget to use our promo code NgoVo15, NgoVo15 to get 15% off your first order on drinkolipop.com.
Are you thirsty?
Yes, but I'm scared to take a sip of water now.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah. Just drink responsibly.
Yeah.
Veronica. There's so much we can talk about, but I guess overall plot wise, right? What'd you think of the whole story and plot of the show?
First of all, can I just say Anthony Ramos, the Hood,
Hood,
is everywhere. I don't know why I think they missed out on him in all the clips for Ironheart. Just wasn't expecting him to be in another project this year. And he was there.
He's also in. He's in a lot too. Yeah.
Yeah, because before that he was in the most recent Transformers, which came out.
Yeah.
I think, like last fall or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just in a lot of projects.
Twisters 2 was recent, right?
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, Twister. Yeah.
Yeah. In the Heights.
Yep. In the Heights.
I think that was the few.
No, but I thought it was interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you. The whole Natalie AI perspective, it was interesting because I feel like we are at that point in current life right now.
It's getting there.
So to me, well, I mean, it is getting there.
Fast.
So to me, I was just like, wow. And it's just like her dead friend. I was kind of frightened for her.
Yeah.
In that plot point, I was like, wow, this is how you grieve is
Mm-hmm.
you make an AI of your dead friend.
But that was by accident too, technically, right? She fell asleep and it was just unconsciously.
No, she fell asleep. Yeah. No, I thought it was interesting. I wasn't unsure how I felt about the Hood.
Yeah.
Because he just felt like one of those criminals that just like wants to steal money from rich people.
He was goofy as hell though, with
And
the cloak and everything.
Yes.
At first I was sitting there, I was like, this man is actually straight up wearing a hood all over the place. What's going on?
Like the Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, it was.
No, the Hood wasn't really like, it was a big part of what was happening in Ironheart, but I don't think it was like I feel like it wasn't all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like towards the end, I could tell like where they were going.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I liked her points where she was trying to build her suit. I mean, she stole it from MIT, duh.
Yeah.
But like her fascination with like making a suit and like protecting her city, which is Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I thought all of that was really cool. She's really smart, like really, really smart.
Yeah, and I think in terms of her as a character, it's definitely one of those, because even in comics, she's technically the, not protege, because Tony wasn't exactly there, but I guess kind of. I don't know how much you read into her stuff at all, if at all.
Not that much, but I did read a little bit about the witch that came in.
Mm-hmm.
Which I love. She's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
She was so quirky.
Yes. So I think the nice part is that she's not exactly a Tony Stark clone. Like the only big thing is she's smart and is into building the suits, but she again, in terms of the show, I think that's the extent of like the connection of like, oh, she's smart enough to build suits. Because she even said it too. She's like, oh, this is what gets people's attention because it's all people worry about is the suit.
Yeah.
But it is one of those, she cares about like her hometown, community. And I think my one gripe is like how the show portrays her is it's disjointed in like, it feels weird, right? Where she goes from like, oh, I believe I could do all these things. She wants to do more and all that. And well, I can recap real quick. But yeah, she wants to do more. And then it kind of bounces to like what she's trying to do. And it never feels consistent as a character. As an arc even.
Yeah, she was like kind of all over the place.
Yeah. Here. Just to recap. So we're just going to do. And I'm going to break this up in like possibly like typical 3-act situation where like episode 1 and 2 was really just like setting up like her as a character, like, oh, she was from MIT, kicked out.
Yeah.
Got kicked out.
Expelled, essentially, yeah.
Yeah, but she's smart. She's able to build a suit, and then like kind of dealing with hardships with her trauma with dead best friend and dead stepdad.
Dead best friend. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it creates AI, like you mentioned. And then Act 2 is like she joins the gang. But then also it kind of low-key introduces magic. I wasn't sure it was magic though at the time.
Like, oh yeah, it was enjoyable.
It made sense with the hood, but I just wanted to make sure. I was like, okay, this is
like,
probably
sure,
magic.
yeah.
And then there's like, you know, tension with like dealing with heists, balancing her life, meeting other people like Zeke, or I'm sorry, Joe.
Joe. That slip up.
Joe. Because I want to talk about that too. I do want to talk about that. But then, and then Act 3 is like dealing with like the threats of like she's gonna die because heist goes wrong, all that stuff. That's like the gist of it. It's all because of a heist.
It's very
trying
simple.
to make money, and so again, there's just kind of it's all a moral dilemma, but it's all to show like she's selfish in a sense, but not exactly, right? It's kind of weird. But yeah, I think. If we're talking, so this is, I want to lead into like her character, because I think this is where my one gripe begins, where I think this is where the show falls short, where you made it made sense now, and that you were like mentioning how it was from 2020. Or that's when it started, right?
That's when it like kind of was announced and like production kind of started, yeah.
And it feels very disjointed. It feels like it probably had to go through multiple editing reshoots, probably not reshoots, but it feels like they kind of wanted to get the flow going, but I think also Black Panther 2 with all this stuff and all that
I think this was supposed to come out after Black Panther 2, like almost not immediately, but you know,
about
a year
later, right?
Yeah
It just feels weird because at the beginning she's talking about this personal trauma and then trying to get money to like do more than what she can, right?
Yeah.
And
for the suit.
But then now in the middle, she's trying to get money for the suit.
Yes.
To do more things. To help make the community different. Because she's like talking about like, oh, you can apply this tech to like, you know, like, what you get? Like apply it to like healthcare or like, you know, supporting like, you know, emergency, all these things.
Like basically saving people quicker was what she was like wanting.
But then she ends with like not being able to move on from like Natalie.
Yes.
Her character arc is pretty bad in my opinion. So I was
No, it is.
It felt disjointed and it just felt like it fell flat. Meanwhile, like the hood is kind of like, what was his name? Parker Robbins or something like that? Parker.
Yeah.
His thing was just more like, oh, you could see like where it came from, like, oh, it's kind of a gradual descent type deal, villain type thing, so it's fine. The main one that I was actually really interested in is Joe.
Zeke.
The reveal that he was actually like Obadiah's son is crazy.
That was crazy.
That's when I was like, the hook, the connection to Iron Man. Here we go. This is the one.
Here we go.
Black market tech dealer. I was like, dude, this is where it was like, this is where it got cool. I think that initially it was just funny because he's like, oh, kind of quirky and all that. But
he's just kind of like this weird white guy for her as her friend.
Yeah. Had a feeling that he was going to turn on her because.
Yeah.
I think once they revealed that he was Obadiah's son, I was like, there's it's her villain like type deal.
Yeah.
Didn't really feel like it, even though at the end it's like, oh, it's because it's her fault, technically too. Yeah. I thought that was the coolest reveal though.
No, that was
second coolest.
Well, I mean, he just hid his dad in a cookie jar. His dad's like cremated.
Yeah.
In this like Ziploc bag with his name on it. Just
we weren't
in
that
the cookie
close.
jar.
I'm like, Again, I think his arc was actually really, or just his character story was so interesting because you could tell like he was really trying hard not to essentially be another
like
Obadiah.
his
like
dad.
Don't become his dad, but then it inadvertently ends up becoming like his dad.
And you know what? The funniest scene before you go on to the second reveal was like how Zeke and his neighbor had beef, and he just cut up his neighbor's like little sunflower.
The music was villainous, and I was like, oh, he's turning. I think
he's like snip, 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 and then the second time he does it, he's like, you know what?
You know what?
Do you like these flowers?
Like, oh no.
That was just funny. But continue the next reveal.
The biggest reveal, I didn't see this, and I was gonna ask you because I haven't watched it. So they reveal Mephisto.
Yes.
That's crazy. Because at first they kept saying, "Oh, Dormammu." They did such a bait and switch.
They did.
They
Because at first I was like, Dormammu, really? Like I was like, Doctor Strange isn't coming.
Which again, I was like, okay, Dormammu. Okay, yeah, we've been introduced to this, the easiest magic villain. There we go. Because they were talking about like, oh, this guy's the baddest of the bad, and then all of a sudden, Dormammu.
It's Dormammu. Yeah.
Because the thing is, he's also multiverse level bad, too.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't watch Agatha. Did they ever allude to him at all?
Like a one-liner.
Okay.
Like they mentioned him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I think his introduction could tie into Blade, but with Blade, I have no idea what's going on there now either.
Well, I mean, no one knows what's going on, Blade.
Unfortunately. But again, they dropped him. I was like, okay, cool. Now they have that piece that they can kind of refer back to, because that's crazy.
And he's a little cuckoo.
Yeah, I mean, he's also played by, what was it?
Well, he's played by
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Baron Cohen, yeah. Which I did not recognize him.
I didn't either.
I was like, he's always played this goofy, weird character. So I was just like, that's really him?
Yeah, but actually, like, not saying his acting is bad, because he does a really good job in messing with people. But it was a different type of acting for once. I was like, I don't watch a lot of this stuff anyway, right? Like you said, it is typically, I imagine Borat, I imagine the dictator and all that stuff.
The dictator.
Right? So seeing this kind of acting, I was like, oh, that's different. Also, yeah, he's like maniacal. Holy crap.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole thing was crazy.
You are right. It was a bait and switch for sure.
Yeah.
Because they were talking about Dormammu.
Because magic, bad magic.
It was magic, yeah. Dark magic.
Now that we're mentioning magic, though, I love that it really was just tech versus magic.
That was really cool.
I was like,
Hence her new friend.
Hence her new friend. What was her name? It was like, wasn't it? I can't remember what it was on. Because I know it was like something Stan, but I remember the mom was friends with Riri's mom. Like again,
Riri's
I thought that was
mom.
a funny connection, right? At that point,
Zelma.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was Zelma because I keep thinking. I was like, Velma, because big glasses and all that.
Yeah,
too.
I was like, Velma.
Yeah.
Me too.
But
No,
anyway,
Zelma.
so I love that we went into the realm of like tech versus magic, and then. But it felt kind of rushed because at the end it's like, oh, we're infusing magic into her suit. And then,
yes.
Oh, now she's going to lose Natalie.
She's
the
losing
AI.
Natalie.
The aspects of the show were cool. I think the execution just felt very jumpy. I will consistently say it just feels disjointed and jumpy throughout. But it was entertaining by the second half, though.
Oh, yeah.
So... But I think overall, though, it kind of did just boil down to her dealing with grief, too, right? In terms of themes.
I mean, she just couldn't I don't want to say get over it, but, like, she just couldn't get through the drama. Like, not drama. Her grief. Her trauma.
Trauma, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, again, no, it was bad. Like, again, she was there at the garage, and her stepdad and Natalie got killed. So it is traumatic. But you could tell, like, the brother, the mom, like, everyone was technically already not fully past it, but they were well past where she was, as you can tell.
Because I felt like she was just stuck.
Yes.
And that's where, like, the AI kind of came in.
Yeah. Again, she was great,
created.
though. She was such a funny character, right? As an AI, I thought it was fun to see, like, how she moves around and all that. But then her death did feel kind of abrupt, too. Second AI death, you know what I mean?
Second AI death? Yeah, that's where my confusion was with episode 6. Because how, like, I know Riri made a deal, but like now her AI can touch her?
No, so that's the thing.
Or is that the magic part?
No, I think she actually got resurrected. Like, I think
Okay.
Natalie actually got
Oh.
resurrected.
Through magic. That's the
Yes,
magic part,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole touching part was like she just thought it was the AI.
Like the AI, right?
But then I think this is where it was kind of left to interpretation, right?
Yeah.
Left for us.
That's where I was like, is that really Natalie, or like the AI like can like
because
the magic can touch her?
Because she seemed confused even more so. So I assume this is where I'm guessing it's the real Natalie.
Okay. You think it's the real
I
Natalie?
think it's the real Natalie. Based
and
on
you know
like
what? All that magic stuff was very Wanda like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Kind of dark,
I
but
was
also
like, ooh,
yeah.
kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so again, I was trying to say like, oh, it started off kind of slow and then it ramped up really well, but also felt
Yeah.
really good, but then it kind of fell flat because it felt rushed. Overall.
I think I would agree with that.
Yeah. But it was like the whole like, oh look, they had all the items that I felt could make it really, really good, which the good parts did, like pulled in like Obadiah and Iron and Tony's whole relationship, brought in magic and brought in Mephisto, even Camertage, right? Technically, like the mom was a former student there and all that. Like they had all the elements there. It's just I think the execution was just weird, or maybe it was just more like her character, like Riri as a character, just felt like it was a flat character and everything was just happening around her at that point.
Happening around her.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think so. That ending was a little too open-ended for me.
Yeah. Because then now
I'm not sure if I enjoy that deal that she made.
And I think that's the moral dilemma, honestly. And I think that's fine as like the end. It just felt kind of fast. I think that's what it was. I think
it was one episode.
It was just all in one episode.
Yeah.
It felt like that could have been 2, but I think they were stuck with 6. Again, I think that's their issue, right?
Yeah, it is.
But I think for the implications of where this could go is kind of cool because it's like, as you've noticed, all the Disney Plus stuff has kind of introduced like the young Avengers, legitimately.
Yes.
So I think that's the cool next step. I don't know if
which Ironheart is part of.
Mm-hmm. Which would make sense because it's like you have Ms. Marvel, you have Kate Bishop, you have her, Riri. Is there one other one? I'm trying to think. American Chavez. Technically.
Yes, which has not been reintroduced
at
all after Doctor Strange 2. So
but again, I'm saying like, see, they're trying to set up all this stuff. I don't know if they're gonna do anything with it though.
Who knows?
I think that's the biggest impact. Is like this is another young character. We got another jumping point for her. They could do it. Who knows?
Well, and you said Blade earlier, and we'll see.
This is the part where I think Phase 5. This is the end of Phase 5, and this show just feels like it just solidified that Phase 5 is just a mess.
As was Phase 4.
At least Phase 4 felt like it was trying to do multiverse. Actually, no. Phase 5 is multiverse.
No, Phase 5 was multiverse. Rethink that statement.
Yep, I take it back. You're right.
But here's to hoping Phase 6 will be better. It starts off with Fantastic Four. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, it's been 5 years. But this we are also in our own character growth in that we're actually giving MCU stuff a try. Because Thunderbolts, we had that, we had all this, so we're doing
all this stuff.
We're doing our due diligence. I will say overall though, this was a fun watch. It just felt mid, like you said.
No, yeah.
Very average. Felt like 50%. Like okay, we're almost there.
And do you think Parker will come back? Because he was asking for help.
He's probably trying to do the whole Camertage thing. Who knows? He may appear again. Again, he was essentially the magic portion of like the whole thing.
The whole thing.
So who knows? He could be a Doctor Strange character brought up again, like in the show. I don't know. This has a lot of loose ends. This is why I feel like it felt flat because it didn't feel complete. At least like with Loki, for instance, it ended season 1, but it felt like it felt definitive and that there could be more. So in season 2.
No, I agree.
Was there
I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens after this.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. So I think it was fun. I just have more questions and issues with what's going on. And I'm sure Riri's a great she was portrayed great. I just feel like the whole I think my issue is the character arc and like where we were
How
going
that
with it.
ended.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Because the middle part was great. I thought it was fun.
Oh, yeah, that was so fun to see.
But yeah.
Zeke was just going crazy at some points.
He was great too. It was fun. See,
No, he was great,
but then
yeah.
it just felt like it fell flat. So, other than that, you got anything else?
I don't.
You don't.
Nothing
Wow.
else.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna give this episode a quick close out as I find my outro. Oh God. Oh no. I'm just gonna. It froze, that's why. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. You can follow us on all our socials at NgoVo Convo and NgoVo Convo. If you're on YouTube, comment down below. Let us know what you think. Did you feel like... I don't think we would have changed your minds. I think this is a pretty... This show it is what it
MCU
is.
show.
I think that's what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
And I don't expect anyone to all of a sudden be, no, this is the greatest show. But it's also possibly not the worst show. I think there is worse that they have in their catalog. But let us know in the comments what you think. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit all the buttons from right to left. It'll make sense once you do it. Trust me.
Yes.
Other than that, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.